Welcome to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live here on A2DRadio.com. And today we are brought to you by, like always, Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. Listen, man, every once in a while you may get an ache or pain or two, whether it's a physical one or it's just mental stress. Listen, man, sometimes you just need to relax and let the doctor do his job. And Dr. Paul Vidal will make sure that he takes care of that for you. You can find him in Burlington, Princeton, and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And you can make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And today, I, Matt Tsutsuti, along with the broken one, Mr. Rob Povia.
I am all that is man.
We'll see if you can find Gritty this week, people. It'll be a little interesting if you can.
It's easy.
It's easy? Oh, okay. Cool. And today we also have a couple of things that are a little bit of a, I guess you would say a news flash or an update here. Programming alert. Chrome will not be on today. He is sick, so get better, brother. And Brian, he had a family event to attend, and so he will not be on the show as well. So it'll just be me and Pove kicking it old school this week.
HHH, old school, baby.
All right, then. And so we get started off with we're just going to address it now, get it out of the way, get the elephant out of the room. Obviously, today the Flyers were supposed to play the New York Islanders in Game 3 of their series in a back-to-back. That is not going to happen tonight. There are also not going to be any games tomorrow as well. The NHL will restart play on Saturday, and the Flyers and Islanders got moved to 12 on Saturday, 12 p.m., obviously. And that you can see there at the bottom, thanks to the producer, Mr. Ryan Brodo, behind the scenes. And basically, the reason why there are no games here today and tomorrow is because of a tragic situation that happened out in I believe it was Wisconsin. And unfortunately, due to those tragic events, in a show of solidarity, the players have elected that they do not want to play, and the league is not going to have games today or tomorrow. And hey, man, everybody's equal. Everybody's equal. There's nothing wrong with what's being done today. It's a shame that tragic situations like this have to happen. But we're not going to get into that. We're not going to do the political side of things. There's no need to get into that stuff. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time. We're going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to review what happened with the Flyers and Islanders Game 2. And we're also going to talk about what's happened for the rest of the playoffs. We got to catch up after the quarterfinals ended, and now the semifinals have begun, and a lot has happened since then. Also, some trades have happened, as well as some punishments have been handed down to a franchise. We'll get into all of that today here. So if you guys want to chime in on what's been happening on with the Flyers, Islanders, and the rest of the playoffs, feel free. And what's been going on with the transactions and the news around hockey, feel free to, man. We love you guys. Comment on in. All right. So,
let me throw one thing in, Maddie. One thing real quick. Because we are here to talk about sports and comments. Keep them friendly. If you have hatred in your comments, they will not be read. They will not be shown, and they may be deleted and you get blocked. That's how serious we are about that. Just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Yes, very important to let the fan know that. Okay, so with that being said, poll question is, will the Flyers will win game number 3? Agree or disagree? Those are the choices to be made. And before we dive in to everything that's happened with game 2 and everything, we do have to address game 1. And I do have 4 jerseys up here, but that needs to be corrected because the Flyers did take a loss. So hold on just a quick second. Rob, feel free to give your take on game number 2. I got to go take one of these jerseys down. Hold on.
Right on. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and give my answer in the poll. I believe my hockey team is going to win every game. So I want to agree. My heart wants to agree that they will win game 3, and they very well could win Game 3 if they come out like they did in Game 2 and dictate the play. Too many times in this year's playoffs, this Flyers team has been way too responsive and trying to mold their game to combat their opponents. When this team was successful during that unbelievable hot streak before the pause, as well as early on in the round robin portion of this year's playoffs, they had that killer instinct. They brought the play to the opposition, and we saw that in Game 2 easily for the first period and maybe even dipping into the second period. It was a great win, Bryce. Glad to have you, man. And you knew the Islanders were going to push back. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. You knew the Islanders were going to push back. This is a team that doesn't get defeated much themselves. A Trotz-led team doesn't hang their head. And even after that loss, they were speaking. It didn't seem like they lost too much confidence in their level of play. So ultimately, I'm going to be that guy, despite all the Flyer stuff you see in this screen, and say I'm going to disagree. I think Islanders will come back and take Game 3. That's the type of series that this is going to be. I don't think they're going to take it like they took Game 1. Flyers figured out some things in Game 2, and they're going to bring that aggressive forecheck. They're going to, most importantly, Maddie, bring that dump and chase game. Instead of trying to slingshot and maneuver the puck through a thickly congested neutral zone, flip the puck up so many times that caused great plays in that first period, or slap it down deep and go and chase and forecheck. I know it's old school hockey, but it still works, Maddie.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, especially if you can't carry it into the zone, and the Islanders have been very, very stingy on that blue line. They are a defensive team, but they do have an explosive offense as well. They're a very dangerous hybrid-like team. They've got offensive goal scorers, and they also have very strong defensemen as well. It's the only question mark we really had going into this qualifier, and it was the goaltending. That was the only real question on the docket for the New York Islanders. Varlamov seemed to have been the answer for a while there, although we'll talk about what happened in Game 2 with him when we dive into that. Let me take a look at some of these comments here. Chrome just saying, sorry he was under the weather. No problem, brother, but he does say the Flyers do need to win Game 3. I agree. Flyers need to. I think they definitely need to get the lead in the series at some point. You don't want to keep chasing the series because that really favors the Islanders there. And Frank Vespi saying, hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. Hashtag solidarity. That is all. And next up, let's say, I'm sorry, Rob, what were you going to say?
Real quick, another Chrome comment was about how the Flyers looked gassed at the end of the third period. Couldn't agree with you anymore, brother. In order to keep up that intensity with a fast skating Islanders team, they were drained. They were chasing. I commented to my dad that it looked like they were skating in cement in comparison to the Islanders. Now, it wasn't a back-to-back situation yet. We would have had that back-to-back today, and maybe a fortunate byproduct. I mean, I think there's a big fortunate byproduct of today's postponements, but a secondary one could certainly be maybe lessening, because there's supposed to be 2 back-to-backs in this series. Maybe there might only be 1.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's true. The Flyers really, I think, as the game went along in Game 2, we had that very strong first period. We got Varlamov pulled because we scored 3 goals on him, and one of them was pretty bad. That one that Hayes scored, the second one, yeah, he probably should have had that one. And so that was kind of the warning signs going off in Trotz's head. He's like, all right, he gives up one more, I got to take him out. And he did. He gave up a pretty one that Couturier got, which, thank God, we needed Coots to get some goals under his belt, and he's gotten one now. And, and Chrome saying, I thought Carter bounced back well in Game 2. He made big saves, and there wasn't much he could do about the third goal he gave up in Game 2. Play broke down in the defensive zone, and they had a player wide open in the slot in front of the net, faced the laser. Oh, yeah, absolutely not. I don't really blame anything that went bad in that game on Hart. I don't even blame Game 1 on Hart. Hart was trying everything he could for us to win that. The Flyers just weren't. And Kyle saying, Hope the hot streak comes back. We need to give Hart a chance to win games, slowing shot counts, not by so many blocks, but by neutral zone wins. Yes, absolutely. You do want to get control into that neutral zone and start to really swing the chances in your favor and keep the momentum on your side. Brodo's saying it seems like the destiny of this series is to go to 7 games. Hey, yeah.
I think it's definitely where it's heading there, Brodo. That's the only reason why I said I disagree with the poll, is that it's going to go back and forth. Now, I agree with you, Maddie, that it would be vital for Flyers to, in a sense, treating this as a home and away series, albeit being played in one arena. You still have that last change, which is a huge thing in hockey. So they took one in your building. You got to go take one in their building. I just think it may be game 4 tied up 2-2, and then it's anybody's series from there.
Gotcha. And Kyle saying they need to get on that dump and chase big time, boys. Yeah. And another thing that, Sean Spellman saying, love Flyers, get a rest. Because Islanders have been on fire back to back 2 games after a loss. Helps Flyers not playing today. I do think so. I think that this is a blessing in disguise, especially because the game went to OT. Flyers really got caught on their heels, and we'll get to that in just a minute. He's saying Giroux was on fire in the beginning, was a huge part of the Flyers' success in the first period. Giroux needs to come out like that again. Yeah, I think Giroux, he's had his opportunities. He's got to get a goal at some point, though. Like, he has to. And don't get me wrong, I love it that he's been a part of getting assists. He did in the last series, but he does need to get a goal, and I think that would really do wonders for him and start to get him on the right track to where he starts contributing more. Britt's saying, "What's up, boys? What's up, Brits?" But yeah,
so, he's gripping that stick way too hard, man. You saw it on that one-timer shot that cleared the right corner of the crossbar by it looked like about 3 feet on my TV. Maybe it was a little bit closer than that, but his play was better, and I'm not faulting G. Unlike a lot of people in Flyers Nation thought that I was saying our captain is garbage by sharing our post that he was missing on a milk carton. No, that was funny. It was having a little laugh during a miserable time of losing game 1, and also a little bit of accountability. You are the captain after all. You know what I mean? But no, I have no questions about any effort on this team, right? It may not show up in competition because, hey, look, Islanders trying to win a series too. You know what I mean? There's another side to the fandom coin. So back and forth play doesn't disturb me as much as it does most of you people. I'm sorry.
And, well, one thing we have to keep in concern, too, is that the Islanders are a better team than the Canadians are. And they've proven that. I mean, they shut down the Panthers, albeit the Panthers shot themselves in the foot. And then you have to talk about what they did to the Capitals. I mean, that was one of the best offensive teams in the league, and they shut them the hell down like nobody's business. And again, perfect example of this is a very strong Islanders team, and they're here not just to be a surprise. They're here to say last year wasn't a fluke when they swept the Penguins and then they went to the semis. They're here to prove that, nope.
It's like Chrome's on the show with us, man, because he could read through the screen that I forgot a point when I went right to Brodo's point, and then he asks a question and he brings me right back in. I love it. Flyers have been a tremendous face-off team in these playoffs all season long. Rocking almost a 65 percentile, for most of their face center icemen. Right, that did go down a little bit. I believe it was 53 to 55. They had the slight edge in face-off wins, Cromer. Right, but here's the thing: I know exactly what you mean because they may be winning more than they're losing, but they're not winning the crucial face-offs, the ones that you're on the power play and you need to get set up right away. They're losing those initial ones, having the Islanders clear the zone, and then all of a sudden you're rocking a $1.42 on your power play, and then maybe you don't get a clean entry, and now you're down to 125 on the power play, and then also too you got to win those defensive zones, especially defensive zone face-offs, especially at the tail end of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
The final 5.
Isles are a way tougher matchup for us. They've played us well all year. Yes, they have. This is no change from the regular season. Frank's saying it was an ugly win, but a win is a win. I'm having a strange feeling this series might go 7 games.
I think Frank must be tormented by this series. It's his 2 teams.
Yeah.
It's teams. He might be split right down the middle, both mentally. Maybe he's wearing one Islanders shirt on one side, Flyers on the other, having some DID issues.
If you scalped him and you saw his brain, one side's got an Islanders logo and the other one's got a Flyers logo, it'd be like, well, that's a weird, fucked up brain, but it is Frank. So yeah. Let's see here.
I can't judge. You know that, brother.
We all love Frank. We wouldn't have him any other way, right?
I'm just saying I'm a psychopath, so why would I comment on that?
And we know that too, Rob, and we wouldn't have you any other way. Hey, Crumb saying exactly, Rob. Loser face-offs on power play and in the defensive zones way too much. Yeah, they did lose a lot of crucial face-offs there, and that definitely did not help their power play at all. And we might as well get started on that because after the first period, Flyers had a strong first period. You go into the second period, it's still 3-0. Flyers got 2 power play opportunities. Both times came up dry. Nothing. This power play has to get going. There's no excuse. At this point, I don't give a shit what defenseman you have. I don't care who the Islanders got. You have a good offensive unit. We know you do. You've proven this time and time again. This power play should be scoring goals. There is no excuse. No excuse. This playoff has been so bad for the power play. I've heard people joking that if there was a decline option in the power play world of the NHL, the Flyers would take it every freaking time because the Flyers power play is that bad. And it's like, I mean, yes, have we had opportunities on the power plays in the past? Yes, but opportunities are just that. They're opportunities. You need to score goals. Say you get 4 power plays a game. If you score on at least 2 of them, you're doing fine. If you score on 1 of them, rough night, but at least you got 1. If you score on none of them, you have a terrible power play, and you need to address that. Same thing if you get 2. If you score on at least 1 of them, you did something right. It's like you cannot play this game of no power play goals and just being terrible on your power play because they'll make you pay for it. The Islanders will make you pay for it. And so will other teams in this freaking bracket. You got Tampa and Boston still remaining. Tampa and Boston are 2 of the best scoring teams you have out there. They'll make you pay for not scoring on your power play. And the Flyers paid for it. They absolutely paid for it in the third period. Because sure enough, the momentum changed in the second. Islanders got an opportunity on their power play for the first time. What happened? Defensive zone breakdown. They scored a goal. And the whole thing shifted in their direction. We were saved by the bell in the second period, where at least we walked away with a 2-goal lead. Then what happened in the third period? The seesaw back and forth. Eventually, Bolivier scored, and that made it 3-2. Now, this may not be a popular opinion, but I don't know why the Flyers are doing back and forth there in the third period. I understand you want to get another goal, but you can do this by being methodical. Slow it down. You don't want to go back and forth with the Islanders because they can make you pay for that too. Yes, you can score on the back and forth. I know you can. But you're still in the lead. They still have to chase you. They still have to beat you. All you have to do, slow it down. Calm it down. Play smart defensively and get into their zone and get a strong forecheck established. If you can do that and get that goal and get back your 3-goal lead, that wouldn't necessarily deflate the Islanders, but it would make their job that much harder. In one period, it's almost impossible to get 3 goals in period. Not that it's impossible, but it's almost impossible. And that was one thing I didn't like about the Flyers playing third, was that they were doing the horse race hockey with them. It's like, you don't need to do that. Slow it down. Remember, you're up by 2.
Ask Dallas if that's possible.
Yeah, I think they would disagree big time.
Crazy game last night. We'll talk a little bit about that later in the show. But yeah, man, a couple things. Islanders have been playing very disciplined hockey. You're saying, that the Flyers power play is down. They're 0 for 3. They've only been on the power play 3 times the whole series. You know what I mean? You're talking in 2-game period. That could be a 1-game, total of. But yeah, you're right. That is a 0 before the 3. So, you do need to score in order to give that power play confidence. But what I'll say in those 3 power plays, as well as a few in the tail end of the Montreal series, it's clicking. It's clicking, and it's going to happen because they're not looking for that, circle-to-circle pass across the seam that constantly gets intercepted and cleared. They're getting the pucks more on that, and you got to realize it's a young team, Maddie. Yes, there are some veterans on this team, and Giroux, Voracek, JBR infused back in the lineup, which I believe helps just for the sake of the veteran leadership and knowing how to play this game and play it right. He's not always effective with it, with his style, but, it's good to have that leadership on the bench with you. I just think ultimately, Maddie, that is if they continue. There was a specific play where Kevin Hayes had an opportunity to slide the puck across, and he didn't. He took a nice shot off the backhand, which is great. I mean, it was an easy save, right? But backhanded shots are never truly an easy save. It's very hard for the goaltender to read how the puck's going to come off the back end blade of the stick. So it's always a smart play to get it on that. I'm seeing, even if the results aren't there, I'm seeing the signs that I've been looking for, and it will turn around. I guarantee it.
All right, then. That's the encouragement side. Flyers during a 5-on-5. Flyers during the power play.
No, it's not true. All right, it's a little true.
That's impossible.
But I mean, it ultimately highlights because you watch. I was watching that Dallas Colorado game last night, and at times it looks like those are men, and we have a team of boys. When the Flyers are playing poorly, right? They're not making those power moves and responding with that killer instinct that we certainly saw during the season. We certainly saw in the round robin, and Montreal shook their confidence. You could tell, right? AB has had to play half coach, half sports psychologist for this team. And a series like that will do that. That's the danger of playing Montreal. That was why I was almost hoping the Flyers didn't get that number 1 seed, because even if you beat them, they kind of leave you with a half bum wheel. You know what I mean? You got a little screw in your wheel,
Yeah.
But I believe from that first period in game 2, the confidence came back, and yes, they gave up that lead, but then you come back and you score 2 minutes into overtime. On Saturday at high noon, they're going to be coming out with that confidence, ready to go. You know what? I'm changing my answer. I agree with the poll. They're going to win game 3. Let's go. Let's go.
And Don saying, "What's up, Phyllis? I hope I'm not late." Oh, you're never late, Don. What's up, brother? And Mark Murray saying, "What's up, guys? I'm a Caps fan, and I'm wondering who you guys think will be the new head coach. The candidates are Laviolette, Gallant, Lambert. I think Laviolette and Gallant are ideal for them." I would actually, immediately when you saw the Laviolette one, I immediately say, yeah, he's the one you want to grab, because Lavi is an offensive-minded coach. Washington has a very strong offense. They just need to get it going. It was a big struggle for them during this, not even just during the first, the quarterfinal matchup with the Islanders. It was also true during the round robin. Capitals had a real good back and forth game with the Tampa Bay Lightning, but did not look all that strong against the Flyers. And I understand maybe the Caps weren't taking the round robin as seriously as other teams were, but still, either way, though, I feel like their offense really struggled this year, and that's something you don't want to see from a team that has really good offensive players. Albeit they're getting a little older, they still have offensive skills, and I do think the Caps do need to still get a little younger. That my opinion has not changed on that. I think they do need to get a little bit more youth injected into that lineup than just Jacob Vrana, although he is one hell of a player. But see here, Ricky215 saying, "What's going on with JVR? He's been a ghost. At least G's been showing up here and there." Well, I mean, yesterday was the first game that he played in this series. I think the problem is with him is that he seems like he's doing a lot out there, but sometimes, and I found this to be true with Ghost, sometimes you're doing too much. Sometimes you're forcing something that's not there. And I think that that's a pretty much something you could say about this entire team. Sometimes when they get down, I feel like that desperation kicks in for them and they panic and they start to force things. That happened It happened in game one. They were only down 1-0, and then they rolled into the third period. And the moment they gave up that second goal, they started getting real loosey-goosey in that defensive zone, and that cost them dearly in that game. And it just seemed like they were trying to just get offense, get that forecheck going, Got to get pressure on Varlamov. It's like, I understand that going down 2-0 in the third period is a terrible thing that can happen. But at the same time, it's one of those where if you hit the panic button, it's going to be insurmountable then. 2-0 is not impossible. It's hard. It's tough, but it is doable. You just got it. You can't press the panic button, and that's exactly what happened there. But Greg saying, my guys, what's up, fellas? Hey, Greg.
Let me get back. Hey, what up, Greg? In terms of JVR, just a couple points I want to point out there, right? He's not, when he is in the lineup, he's not getting a lot of minutes. What is he getting, like 8 minutes? You know what I mean? Maybe 10 minutes, being on the fourth line, even when he's been bumped up on the third line with Grant or what have you, right? So less time on the ice is just going to equate to, that ghost type feeling. I'm not saying Gostisbehere. I'm saying, like, man, I don't hear his name being called while he's not on the ice as often. Let's face facts. You know what I mean? The skills have depreciated with JVR, right? But what he is doing on the ice are the things that you're not going to know on the score sheet. You're not even going to maybe even see within the broadcast, right? Talking about dumping the pucks, getting in the corners, getting dirty. He did a really good job of that in game 2. No, Maddie?
No, I will agree. And I don't think JVR gets beat on that puck nearly as much as other players do. I think he's done a really good job of being a big body down there and keeping the puck protected.
Oh, 100%. Now, all that being said, and I'm always going to stick up for JVR, so maybe some of that is my bias. So, he certainly isn't playing up to snuff. And, I love how AV benched Scotty Lawton. Because I texted you this, Maddie. Scotty Lawton has been playing like dog shit. And he needed to be sit down. He needed to clear his head. And it's going to wake him up. If you bring him back for game 3, I suspect that'll take JVR's spot, assuming that you want to keep Knack in. And why wouldn't you? He's been playing fabulous in there, blocking shots, taking that physical presence to the team instead of response to that team. And a hit that he gave early in game 2 really spurred the rest of the team, where you saw Matt Niskanen put down Josh Johnson like that, like, geez, man. So I mean, my ultimate point is that I will give the other side. He's his game leaves much to be desired. In certainly some facets.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Lawton, I mean, he had that amazing beginning, in that round robin, and then he just disappeared in that matchup against Montreal. Hasn't been back since. And
agreed, Mark. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's tough when that happens, when Trotz left the town. But you know what? Again, though, with the Capitals, when you look at the situation that they're in, I feel like there's a couple of things. One is Trotz. I think maybe he himself also felt like, it doesn't even matter if they don't want to pay me. I already won the cup, so maybe he did want to really leave and go to the Isle. Because it's a new challenge. I mean, it really is a challenge because that team hasn't won anything since the early 80s, and they've been a considerably forgettable franchise since the 90s. But, in terms of where the Caps are now, the Caps aren't dead. That's the thing. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say that their window's shut. A lot of people like to shitpost and say that, the Caps window is shut. Not necessarily. If the offense gets going and is as strong as it can be, and the players that would be considered old, quote unquote, start playing a heavy amount of goals getting into the back of the net, and that offense makes a real boost, I know Ovechkin doing what he does, that team can still be pretty threatening. The only question is Holtby. Is Holtby as good as he needs to be? That's the big question mark there. Offense isn't my biggest concern with Washington. I still think the roster needs to get younger. But yeah, I think Holtby, that's a big question mark right now in my book. See if he's still capable of going. And Greg saying, hate giving up that lead, but love the fight to still get the W at the end of the day. Yeah, and nobody was happy with giving up that.
and let's give credit to credit's due in terms of the many young players on this team and a rookie at that, and Philip Myers. Man, you saw him respond against Boston in the round robin series when they got the goal to close it to 2-1, and he comes back and rips it right down their throat. And he did it again in overtime against the Islanders. Philip Myers, man, he was the guy nobody was speaking about a few years ago, right? They were all talking about Sam Morin, Travis Sanheim, Ivan Provorov, right? Yeah, Phil Myers is right up there with him, man. Yeah, it's really easy. We're getting very comfortable with Niski there, Mark. Absolutely. One comment that Chrome put a little while ago, and I'm so glad again that he chimed in with this because it's something I wanted to talk about. He goes, fellas, curious about your thoughts on AB challenging with 2:09 left in the game. Ballsy and super risky move. I felt like you flirted with the devil there for a play that was way too close to call. Spot on, brother. I'm right with you on that. I texted this man right away. Fucking idiotic challenge right there. Because unless you know with 100% certainty that it was offsides, or they might have even been challenging the turnover. That was never fully substantiated. But, based on the broadcast, they were assuming that it was the offsides. Now, mind you, I zoomed in on it really close, and it was offsides, but not close enough to challenge in that point where there's 2:09 left in the game, and you're basically giving them a power play for the rest of the game. If you lose it in a tie game, very lucky to get to overtime right there. I'm surprised at that decision, Maddie. I never got your full take on it. Did you like the challenge or were you against it?
No, I didn't like the challenge. The evidence is too close. It has to be conclusive evidence for you to overturn anything. Same thing with goaltender interference. Same thing with a goal getting called back. It has to be conclusive evidence. We've seen this in the past. Goaltending interference has been ticky-tacky at times, and I can understand that frustration.
Greg, it could be offsides, but if it's not clear evidence, you're a baseball guy. You know this, right? Is that you can know that you're right, but you need the evidence to challenge in order to get a reversal in your favor, or else just because it was offsides, right, doesn't mean and at that point in the game too. If you're talking 12:09 left in the third period, yeah, I'm for that challenge there. To keep your 3-2 lead. Not 2 minutes left to go in the game, Greg.
I don't think it stopped the momentum either because you give a power play to the other team, so that really juices them up and gives them a real opportunity. And Adam Curran saying 100%, but that could have been costly given how close it was and how little time there was. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things. I want to see them keep their foot on the gas next game.
And Greg is a sharp mind. We got tons of hockey guys here at A2D Radio. Let me clear that up real quick. There's a certain list was put out by an infamous person that I ain't even going to talk about right now. Right now, maybe I should, like him because he said except for us and Ralphie. We're gonna. Cromer, great example of a hockey guy, and Greg is a spot on hockey dude. You're just wrong here, but overall, you're spot on Flyers fan. Hallelujah.
But yeah, overall though with the challenge, it was a risky thing to do, and I feel like two things happened here. This is why I think AB did it. One, he got away with it against Montreal. He was able to kill their momentum by taking away that goal when we went down in Game 5, 4-2, and it looked like that's it. And he says, just amazing that regardless of any sport, how you go to video and still get the call wrong.
Right.
But
the thing of it is though, is that with what video they were looking at that given time, I didn't think it was offsides either, Greg, right? It took, and of course, I'm sure they're looking at the blue line camera there, and that's where this feed came from that I saw online, right? But it was super, yeah, yes, agree to disagree, Sundays. Be sure to watch it. You're probably already watching it, but watch it again. Go rewatch last week's show after you're done watching our show. Now,
absolutely,
yeah. But no, and even then, it was by a cunt hair. You know what I mean? I'm not sexist when I say that. Maybe I am. I don't know. But this world's got me rethinking everything right now. But it was super close, and I get that it's an important goal that you don't want it to tie it up. It was just the timing of it. 2:09 left. You lose that challenge, and you're on the penalty kill. And they were already dominating 5-on-5 at that juncture. And now you're going to make it now you're going to make it 5-on-4. Credit to Carter Hart. Credit to the defense though too. As hard as the Islanders were coming, the defense never stopped playing last game. Unlike what we saw in game 1. You know what I mean? So every element of your hockey team, your hockey club, is going to have its ups and downs. You got to say though, our defense has been rock solid throughout these playoffs, Matty.
Yeah, I mean our defensive team. The only thing that they've been playing well, but the one thing that I will say is, and this is my biggest concern with them, is sometimes they get outmanned in their own zone. Now, for the Islanders, I think they're manufacturing a lot of these turnovers. I think with the Canadians, it was the opposite. I think the Flyers were just caught completely off guard and were really suffering because of it. The only time I could ever see the defense really struggling was at the beginning of Game 2. But they held strong there. And Game 1, they had a hard time as well. But again, though, for the most part, though, it's because the Islanders are playing their style and they're coming at you. So now it's the defense's job to be prepared for that. But with that, though, the final thing that I think the reason why AV challenged that as well, not only because it worked against Montreal, he didn't realize that, and I swear to God, AV was stunned that the call stood. And the reason why I think he was stunned was the puck has to completely cross the line, but the skate only has to touch the blue line. You don't have to clear the zone.
Right.
I don't know if AV knew that. And I got to say this right now. I love you, AV, but you got to know the rules, man. It's like, you got to know the rules, babe. Like, listen, we can get a rule wrong here. We can get a rule wrong. The worst that happens is the trolls will come out and say that we fucked up. But when you get a rule wrong, you could cost us a game. Know the rules. Know the rules, please. Please.
Matt, you don't think he knows that, Matty?
He put up a big fuss over it. I don't know. Maybe it was he really did believe that play was offsides. I don't know. But
hey, you could be right. You know what I mean? Also, too, what I'll applaud Elaine is that, yeah, we do know the rules. Right? Is that I love the mind games. I love putting out lines and then changing them 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the game. It worked effectively in Montreal, and it did a little bit or a lot of it actually in Game 2 against the Islanders, where all of a sudden you got Giroux with Konechny and Hayes, I believe. I think it was definitely Giroux and Hayes, because Giroux set Hayes up on the goal. But was it or fair? It might have been Farabee, Giroux, and Hayes, come to think of it. Or maybe I was right the first time. Usually your first instinct's right. But the fact of the matter is that you see him in-game, giving the coaches something else to think about, And that's important, too. Trotz is doing that as well. You know what I mean? And these are two experienced, quality coaches. I mean, this is just a great series for the NHL. It really is.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those tough series. It's one of those series you look back on and say, good God, how the hell did anyone survive this series? How did any team walk away with this still intact? Yeah, it really is that kind of a series. But with that, a few other comments that I'm just going to read off here real quick.
I'm going to take a minute break, dude. I'll be right back.
Okay, so we got a few comments here, and we got Gritty for Prez 2020 saying, gross, why is Crosby on the background? I don't know. You got to ask the background guy about that. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was Frank who built these up, but still. Then he also, speaking of that, he says, Frank's not allowed to watch this series anymore. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not Brodo's fault. And he said, and then he goes on to say, Frank's not allowed to watch this series anymore. You can't be an Isles Flyers fan. He's banned. And then he says, you guys think G is snake bit? Yeah, I think he is a little snake bit. But I don't know if he's hurt. He's not hurt snake bit. He's mentally snake bit. I think he still has a little bit of struggles confidence-wise. And I think that that's really where it's coming from. And it's weird to say that about Drew because I love G and I don't want another captain on this team right now but him. But he really is he really has had his struggles going into this playoff. And it's really why I want him to get that goal. I want him to get that elusive first goal, and then he can get that confidence and can start building forward, and everything will start to, follow after that. But anyway, let's see. Any other comments we got rolling around here? We got another one here from Adam saying, last game should be an indication. Shoot the damn puck more. Put it on net. Anything can happen because of that. We came out with the win. And that is true. You don't want to get too pass happy. Game 1, we got a little too pass happy there in the zone. Game 2, we were a little bit more pumped adrenaline-wise in terms of taking shots. We do need to see that more often than not. Yes.
So, Mr. Sinsudi, I'm scrolling Twitter, and I found what might be the most important Flyers stats so far the postseason.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
So far, the Flyers are 5-0 when they wear the white jerseys, and they're 2-3 when they wear the orange jerseys.
Huh.
Just figure I'd throw that in there.
Interesting stat. So 2-3 in the home jerseys, 5-0 on the road jerseys. Interesting.
Yeah, considering that they were so dominant at home, but there is no well in this year's playoffs.
yeah, kind of weird though. I mean, this has been a weird year. So, I mean, to say the least, it's an unusual year, so unusual things are going to happen. We got hockey in August. So
yeah. But I mean, man, NHL has just done it right. MLB has failed. NBA has done okay, but NHL has done it right. And it's the point where you can, postpone games like this because they haven't had to due to COVID, unlike other sports.
So True. I found another stat here, and it's a 2-for-1 special. When Kevin Hayes scores first, the Flyers are 20-0-1, and when the Flyers score first in a game as a team, they're 7-0.
That makes sense. Yeah, because the Flyers that was pretty much the tag through the first series. Whoever scored first won the game. Anytime Montreal scored first, they won. When we scored first, we won. And same thing so far has held up here. The Islanders scored first in game number 1, and they won the game. We scored first in game 2, and we won. And that Kevin Hayes stat is awesome. They brought that up during the regular season. It's great to see that it's still going even into the postseason. When Kevin Hayes scores, we win a game. Thank God.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's production from your top 6. It's something that the Flyers, had been starving for, and it was great to see in game 2, and it was great to see, like you said, Coots get on the score sheet as well. I mean, I made a comment last show that it's important for him to play that defensive forward position that he's so good at in these playoffs. Doesn't mean I don't want to see him score a goal, obviously, especially when the top 6 is having such a difficulty in putting it light in the lamp, So, it's great to see. And what's great is that it's like everything but the finish. And if you keep working hard, the finishes will come. And you know what? If you can continue, you know what I mean? God willing, we can get 3 more wins in the series, right? And saving that hot streak, you know what I mean? You got to get there first, you know what I mean? You got to win games. So the hot streak needs to happen now, right? But I'm just saying that they got through Montreal without really hitting stride. And that could be the one silver lining for it.
True. I mean, and that, it's the benefit of having heart. It's the benefit of having a goaltender that you can rely on and say, hey, can you snag this game for us because the offense ain't doing shit tonight.
Right. And you know what? If there was a game that, let's say game 3, Islanders put up 45 shots to our 21 and we win 1-0, I'm fine with that. You know, how many Cup teams have you seen the goaltender be the best, you know, maybe even the only player on the ice, but certainly the best player on the ice? A lot of the great teams that you think of, a lot of those Devils teams, damn Devils, you know, there's a lot of Marty Brodeur games like that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what you shoot for, but, you know, there can't be such disdain. When it comes to the playoffs, it's about getting in front of the net, garbage goals, and winning any way you can. Because it's a gauntlet, and you're not going to win every year. You know, you're not going to go 16-0.
Yeah. No, you're not. And Adam's saying, while I don't like the game tonight being postponed, I do think the slight break could be beneficial for us. And in particular, Hart, back-to-back games against Habs was tough. I believe that they will be able to recenter themselves and come out firing again. Yeah, absolutely.
I almost thought that Elliott might have started tonight. You know what I mean? It was announced that Hart was going to start, but as of last night, I was putting money on it because in the back-to-back that Adam pointed out, Hart did not have a good second game. You know what I mean? And it really wouldn't be a shot to his confidence like it would in the normal standard Stanley Cup playoffs because of the scheduling and the vastness and the extra games. You got to use your complete team. There's certain elements of the regular season here in play, like we saw in the qualifying rounds, Maddie, like we saw in the round robin. And in a back-to-back situation, this is why you have a quality guy. This was the benefit of the Islanders pulling their starting goaltender in lieu of Thomas Greiss, who many thought would actually start the series over Varlamov, but he didn't even break a sweat. I mean, they pointed that out on the broadcast. I don't mean to plagiarize there, but it's a true fact that he would have been no problem to bring back and would have been well rested, only playing that first period. Whereas Hart, could have been sucking wind. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a tough call. I said hell no in the past. Because, hell, he's 21 years old, you know what I mean, 22, 22 now. So, he's got the youth. He's got the energy to play the back-to-backs. But it's taxing on the mind, too, and you have a whole hockey team to utilize.
True. That definitely can come into play there. It's tough because you got to think about, okay, Hart is capable of being that great goaltender that we've been longing for. But the question is, is he ready for that step right now? Or do you want to – he's ready to be a starter, but is he ready to be a back-to-back starter? You know what I mean? And there's a dramatic difference.
Yeah, but 100%. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump on you because that's the ultimate point. Because in terms of being a playoff goaltender, in terms of if they had to start Elliott, it would be no shot in terms of how he's handling playing in these playoffs. It would be simply because of the back-to-back situation that you pointed out.
Yeah, and it's tough sometimes when you're gauging a goaltender. It's like, where is he at, mentally? Because you don't want to shatter anybody's confidence, and goaltenders, confidence is everything. You have to be able to be confident in your skills that you're going to get in front of that shot and you're going to make the save 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10. There's some goalies who said if they give up one goal, they're pissed off.
Right.
So,
And Cromer, you're, again, I got to agree with you here. Grant and Thompson have been key acquisitions paying dividends in these playoffs. Grant, just for his snarky, aggressive play, it's been great to see, some really good quality scoring chances and shots on goal as well for Grant. And Thompson, in terms of those faceoffs, he's been pretty successful in terms of winning the clutch faceoffs. And if you notice, in a key situation late in game 2, they didn't have G out there. They didn't have Hayes out there. They had Nate Thompson out there.
True. They did. And he's really shown that, both depth pieces that we got from the Ducks and the Canadians absolutely were 110% validated there. And he's right. Rhoda's saying, which player has been the biggest disappointment to you and which one has been the biggest pleasant surprise? Well, my pleasant surprise is Tyler Pitlick. He's another guy that I've really enjoyed watching because he's doing the little things right, and I say that because when he gets a hold of the puck, it's hard to get the puck away from him. One thing that I noticed, when he's down in the corner and it's in the offensive zone, he fights, and it is extremely hard for them to get the puck away from him. 9 times out of 10, he's finding a flyer when he's got to send it up the boards, or if he's got to press it, he'll get it to a flyer. So I've been liking what Pitlick's been doing. Definitely been enjoying that. So he's been my biggest surprise. My biggest disappointment so far, it's been G. It's just been he's been missing right now, and that's my biggest concern because he's the captain, and I want to see him play. You know, I want to see him get in on it. Hasn't killed us in terms of getting offense because we have been getting offense from other players and younger players, which is good to see. But my biggest problem is that you want to see your captain get in on this. You want to see him lead by example and get some goals on the board and some clutch goals too. You definitely want to see that. But
No,
Rob, what
for sure.
about you?
For sure, man. No, you make a great point. Biggest disappointment, I already mentioned it, it's Scotty Lawton. You know, he's right there on the milk carton. You know what I mean? You know, he was playing well up until the Montreal series, and I think that got into his head a lot. You know, and hopefully he comes back strong when if and when he does get reinserted in the lineup. Biggest pleasant surprise. You know what? It's another guy I talked about. It's Philip Myers. In terms of the, him, even because Farabee, I'm not surprised about. I knew for such a young player, he's played like a grizzled vet during the regular season, so I'm not surprised to see good decisions being made here in the playoffs. Phil Myers, man, in terms of, taking care of his defensive responsibilities as well as chipping in on the offensive side of the puck. He's the guy to where you can maintain your size on defense by keeping Hogg in your third pairing and not miss the offensive prowess that Gostisbehere brings. Now, I'm not saying you don't utilize Gostisbehere because I've actually he's been a bit of a surprise too. He's played, I won't say very well, but well. Defensive side of the puck and offensive side of the puck. It's just he's not a size guy. And the other teams that, bring the size, bring the strength, and that's all you're going to get from here on out. It's what you got from the beginning, right? It leaves the team at a disadvantage. So you see that effect, and it's real easy to put the blame on him. Meanwhile, he's making every play that he should be playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that Philip Myers makes you not lose. He's been chipping in with the offense and maintain that physical presence. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I agree. And Phil, I haven't really had any problems with him. He scored goals. He scored in that Montreal series. He almost got a goal in game 1, and he got the OT winner. So, I mean, all I can say is that Myers, I think he's been doing his job, I really think he's definitely one of those young players that's shown up. He's played very well. Zach Bellis has an interesting say. He says, Pitlick, Hayes, and Lawton should be the third line. What do you think about that, Robbie?
Third line, Hayes, Lawton, and Pitlick. I like it because Pitlick brings a nice forechecking game. Hayes is your playmaker, and that as well as Lawton can make plays too. And you can feed Lawton to, he's got a nice sniper shot when he's right. I just think that I just think that Pitlick is so much better in that fourth line role. I'd much rather see Nicholas Abe Kuba, you know what I'm saying? With Hayes and Lawton. That I would like to see, and you keep Pitlick on the fourth line, but I like where your head's at, even if my mouth isn't cooperating.
Crow is saying, I'd say
Abe Kubel, motherfucker.
And that is Chrome's biggest surprise, and he feels like he's constantly around the puck making plays. Biggest disappointment at this point has to be G. So he's on me. He's with me on that one. Joey DiBardino. Hey, Joey, saying, HHH, it's all about the game and how you play it. I agree. He says, when will Moran be ready to be the NHL ready? I don't know, man. Moran's had some problems with the injuries. He still had problems with it beforehand. I don't know. I hate to say it. I wouldn't be surprised if Moran gets packaged in a deal. I really wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I don't want to see it happen, but I would not be surprised if they say, hey, you guys want him? You can have him. We want this in return,
Truth be told. Just
Now,
getting, going through some other comments here, and some. Oh wow! So, playoff overtime goals for defensemen in Flyers franchise history. Right? Yeah, Phil Myers, game 2, round 2, with that goal at 23.214 years of age. That ranks 3rd on the Flyers all-time list, behind Andy Delmore and good old Carl Dykhouse.
nice.
Yeah.
That's some good company to be in. Love it.
That's a great stat. That's a great stat. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Gotta love it. But with that, though, we do have a comment in from Raska saying Arizona Coyotes are in deep, deep trouble. We might as well talk about that now. John Chayka did step down before the playoffs, but apparently it doesn't even really matter that he stepped down because the Coyotes were already in trouble. They got more problems to deal with than the fact that Chayka left. So apparently Arizona was not obeying practices properly in terms of scouting talent. They violated combine rules. They violated NHL policy. And so because of that, there was a fine put in place. However, that was not given by Gary Bettman in the NHL. That was more given by the team, by the other, I believe by the, I forget who fined them, but somebody did fine them. But nonetheless, though, Gary Bettman.
NHLPA, maybe?
Yes, I think that's who did it. And as for Gary Bettman, basically the punishments he put in place, he basically took away their 2020 second round pick. They did not have a first because they traded it away for Taylor Hall. And then finally, they don't get a 2021 first round pick. So in a deep draft, they're not picking in the
They lose their second round pick this year, though.
Yes.
It's a second round this year, first round next year. Okay, go on.
Yep. So in a deep draft, they will not be picking in the first 2 rounds, and next year they won't be picking in the first round, which if Arizona plays poorly next year would have probably been a good pick. So, I mean, wow. It's so Arizona. It really is. This is so Arizona right now.
It's like, man, it's like you took me back to raising Arizona when you said that comment, man. Yeah, I mean, they perform, physicals and tests on players pre-combine. You don't have to be, in the know with hockey to know that that's a no-no. I mean, you're a big NFL fan. That's serious levies that are going to be put against you. And here, it may not be enough. I don't know, a first round pick though. I mean, that is stiff. So, but I mean, it just really, I get it that they know that they're on to something out there in the desert, and they showed it in this year's playoffs to a certain degree. And if they could get a leg up in terms of scouting these players and adding on to the pieces that they have, that could be all they need. And it got a little aggressive. Here's what I find a little ironic. If you recall, old friend Rick Tocchet was involved in a certain gambling scandal in the past. So his morals are already a little questionable, and we're kind of seeing that peek its ugly head here again.
That's true. Maybe that's why the Flyers never wanted to take him on as a coach. But yeah, this yeah. But yeah, I mean, this was a bad look for the Coyotes here. They got punished for it, and all I can say is it's a very Coyotes thing to happen, that they have once again put themselves behind the 8 ball, and they have no prospects already, so they traded a lot of those away. Remember, Max Domi and Anthony Duclair both started in the league as Coyotes, and they traded them away. So it's just like, oh, man. Ooh, you're an Arizona fan. Get ready for another rebuild because it's freaking coming again. Jesus. I don't know if any other team has gone through more rebuilds than the Coyotes in the short term that they've been around. I really can't think of another team that's done that more. Jesus.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely.
But that was the funny bit of news, if you're a fan, not of the Coyotes. But now it's time to turn to some transactions that happened around the league. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they made a deal, and it's an interesting one. think the Penguins are still trying to get a cup. They went and got Kasperi Kapanen, Aberg. There was one more player that was in that package deal. I'm going to bring up those details so that way I get all of them in there. But, yeah, it's interesting to see this deal take light here during the playoffs. What do you think about it, Robbie, with Pittsburgh making this deal? The big piece, obviously, being Kasperi Kapanen coming to Pittsburgh.
Well, I think it's, you're bringing in a skilled guy. He's, a quality player there up in Toronto. I think they made out in the deal. I think it's a good deal for Pittsburgh. It's not wowing me, though. I mean, what has Kasperi Kapanen done in this league? I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not totally. I should be up based on how much I loved his father. I should be up on what he's doing every day. But
that's funny. And SJM86, what's up, fellas? Checking in, and I saw the game is postponed. In the infamous words of Ralph Reed, God damn it! I think we need to have that clip played now. Go ahead, Brodo.
God damn it!
Gotta love that. That'll never get old.
the meatloaf. Fuck. Yeah, you're talking to a guy, he topped out in 2018-19 with 20 goals, put up 13 in this season, had a decent playoff, pretty good playoff, but, young player, talking 5-year, NHL career, sitting at 24 years old, 6'1", 194. I mean, he's a good player to add, but I'm not like, oh my God, here we go with Pittsburgh again over the deal. You know what I mean?
True. And it was a 6-player deal. So, boy, 6-player deals, haven't seen one of them in a while. That's going back to the freaking 90s and 80s there with those 6-player matches.
It could be the tip of the iceberg, or maybe something they want to do at the draft. You know what I mean? Because it seems like, maybe when you're dishing off that many players, you're clearing some room for something.
True. And SJM86, no, Brodo does not take a day off. That's why he has 5 million vacations. But Zach Bell is saying, how did you feel about Game 2 results? Confidence booster. Absolute confidence booster for the Flyers, and hopefully giving them some juice into Game 3.
Yeah. I don't even think that, giving up the 3-goal lead killed that at all. And that may sound weird. That might sound wrong. And it could be wrong. I'm only right one time a month. So, just like, I got to remember we're not on at 10 o'clock. I just feel that, it's definitely based on the fact that they scored that goal in overtime and won the game. They lose the game, then my statement is totally false. But especially a team that you've had trouble with this year, as the Flyers have, right? Or any team in these playoffs for that matter, you got to expect the pushback. And you just can't break to it. You bend, you don't break to it. Shit, you even saw that with Vegas, and Vancouver. As dominant as the Vegas Golden Knights have been in this year's playoffs, Vancouver, hung a little sucker punch on them in Game 2, tying up that series, which gave me confidence that the Flyers could do the same to the Islanders. So thank you, Vancouver. But in that series, you bend, you don't break. Also, in terms of within the game, last night, Dallas and Colorado, Dallas goes in that third period up 3-1. You're thinking they're looking pretty good. And then Dallas puts up 3 goals. You bend. Okay. Did they go run and hide with their tail between their legs? No. When you can meet adversity and triumph above it, that's better than winning a 5-0 game in my book.
Good.
Because in a 5-0 game, you may have wasted goals for the next game. That's all. It was very stupid comment to interrupt you with.
Yeah, you don't want to tap yourself out of goals. You don't want to blow your load in one game, and the next thing you know, you can't score shit the very next one. But to give the full details of that trade real quick, forward Pontus Aberg, defenseman Jesper Lindgren, and they were traded to the Penguins. And the Maple Leafs received Evan Rodriguez, Philip Hallander, and David Warsofsky, and obviously Kasperi Kapanen. Going to the Penguins was the big thing about that trade, basically.
Oh, yeah, that's not shedding too much salary, though. Bad read. Oh, I was wrong. Big surprise.
Oh, all right. So with that on that taken care of, SJM had a great freaking comment here. It's never good to blow your load.
That's what she said.
Oh. Unless she's into that kind of freaky shit, but oh well. Anyway, Joey's saying, off-topic question: do you see the Vegas goalkeeping winning a cup in the next 5 years? You know what? I actually do, and I hate to say that, honestly. This is I said before I wasn't sure how this team was going to work out. I didn't think they were going to be good coming out of the gate. Well, they made me look like a fucking moron. And, boy, they made a lot of people look like that because they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. They lost, but then, the following year they got beat in the first round. Some magical bullshit happened in Game 7 for San Jose. It happens. But then the following year, this year, Vegas has come out with a vengeance since the break happened there, and they're just like, screw it. We're going to try and win the cup now. We're not waiting. I could totally see Vegas possibly doing it. Hell, Vegas could win it this year. If they beat Vancouver and Vancouver's testing them, they may be ready for whomever comes out of that series. I mean, it's possible.
Maddie read my mind, man. That was going to be what I was going to tell Joey there, is that next 5 years, it might happen this year, because my pick and a lot of people's pick is Colorado Avalanche. Now they're missing two big pieces in Eric Johnson and Philip Grubauer, and Dallas has come to play. They found their goal scoring. They haven't found their defense, but they don't need it, apparently.
I don't think anybody found their defense out there in the West.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, I mean, Francois has had a pretty good, in limited time, playing experience here in this playoffs and during the regular season. So it's not like you're taking a huge step down there in goaltender, but you're missing a piece, and now you're relying purely on the one goaltender and whatever poor schlub that you bring in to back him up now. But Eric Johnson, that's huge. That's a big piece of their defense, and if he can't come back, and let's say Dallas, winds up taking that series, which if Colorado didn't come back and win last game, they would have been up 3-0 instead of now 2-1. So, sorry, Priz.
Yeah.
I reached out to you on Twitter though, but you were at work.
Yeah, sorry, Priz. Reason why was because we were originally going to do live reactions to the Flyers-Islanders Game 3, but that got postponed, so we just moved here to 7 and just decided to do the show tonight. Sorry, brother.
Don't worry about it, Prism. With the level of, obscenities that I've said during the show, we're going to be permanently locked in at 10 from here on out. Game or no game. Sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry I'm not a Smith.
You want to explain what that is for any kids out there who might be watching?
No, Vegas has a great front office management, absolutely, SJM, and that's what I'm saying. That getting back to my point there is that Dallas triumphs over Avalanche there. I would pick the Vegas Golden Knights to win the cup. I mean, I'm going to stick by my gut though. And that, if the Flyers are fortunate to make it past the Islanders and they face either the Bruins or the Tampa Bay Lightning, if they're able, I said, if they win that game, if they win that and go to the Cup Finals, that's it. I don't care who's on the other side of the ice. They're going to be so jacked up. Let's go. You know what I mean? It's big words now, being that they're not playing as well as when I first said that, but I'm going to stand by it because things can change. Man, the playoffs are a roller coaster. It's why you can't get too bent out of shape, man. If they're not playing well, you tip your cap to the team across the ice, across the other side of the boards, and you get them next time. You know what I mean? Just don't want to get in a hole, to your point, Maddie.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely don't want to be chasing the series, and you don't want to go down 3-1.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to do against the Islanders. Zach Bella saying, did you guys see the picture of the offsides for the Islanders' third goal, the challenge goal? Yes. Yes, we did. And we definitely had a talk a little bit earlier on with one Greg Malakovic of Agree to Disagree here on A2D Radio about that.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear that he hadn't reached the blue line when the puck, not even the blade of the skate had crossed over into the offensive zone. Still too close to challenge, though, at that point in juncture of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And SJM saying he's pretty much hit on all cylinders so far. Their issue will be replenishing with young talent via the draft late in the first round because they're playing above expectations. That is true. They did stockpile on a lot of picks, though, when they made trades. They traded Trevor Van Riemsdyk, for example, to the Carolina Hurricanes and got picks out of that. They have tried to plenish up their picks. It will be interesting to see how they do moving forward with that. But you know what? Here's the thing. Sometimes in the first round, players get a little hyped and they don't always live up to that expectation. There's a lot of talented players that got picked in the second round, third round, fourth round that have gone on to become captains. I mean, hell, Patrice Bergeron, I don't think he was a first rounder. I believe he was a late round selection. I believe he was a second or third rounder picked by the Boston Bruins. So, and he's going to be the captain once Chara steps down. If Chara doesn't last him. But the point is that
Chara's going to play till he's 75.
I know. He's been playing this long. Might as well keep going now.
The man doesn't age, man. He's not Nosferatu. That's who he is.
He's
kind of looks like a vampire, too.
Yeah. And he's saying, Zach, that goal was erroneous on all counts. Flyers showed a ton of ton of guts by going, yep. And they did get a job done in OT. But on to that, though, real quick, let's take a look at what's been going on here in the playoffs themselves. We might as well take a look at the brackets, give everybody a little bit of an update of where everybody's standing currently on the series. It's been weird. It's been really strange. There have been teams that we didn't expect to do anything, have come out and done everything that they could possibly do. Some of them said goodbye in the first round. Some of them are still going. So, this is going to be a weird year. A very, very, very weird year, to say the least.
I don't think so, SJM. I think it would take too much to get them, and you'd be sacrificing too much of your team. You'd basically be trading places with Edmonton, where you have all your eggs in the basket of McDavid. How do you feel about that comment?
I mean, the McDavid thing, I don't think so, because I think the salary is really high. It's even higher than Eichel's. So I would say Eichel, it's tough too in that regard. But here's the thing, though. I don't think McDavid would leave Edmonton. I just don't think he will. I could see Eichel totally wanting to leave Buffalo if they can't figure this shit out anytime soon.
Yeah, he already wants to go. I think he might even almost said it to the fact, or subconsciously said it.
Yeah, that's why they fired their GM. And that's why they got rid of everything, because they're like, fuck this shit.
Right. I mean, Vegas maybe more likely Eichel. Because maybe they don't have to sacrifice as much while the stock's a little down.
True. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they would have to pull off a Mike Trout type trade. Yes, they absolutely would. 110% would have to pull off that.
Currently, in this day and age, Connor McDavid is the best player in hockey. Crosby held that man on. This is not me hating on Pittsburgh. It's just everybody has to fight that battle with Father Time, and it's on to the new guard at this point.
And here's one. Clay Harbison saying, "Preds fan. Anyone else think they should can Poli?"
I don't think so. Why?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the Preds right now with where they're at, it's they have talent. It's not that they're dead in the water. I think, if anything, the only thing the Preds may need to consider in a couple of years, if they still haven't really done anything, is maybe do a soft reboot. They're not in hard restart territory like other teams are. Like, if Pittsburgh and Washington, try to stay competitive, 4 or 5 years down the line from now, they're going to have to hit the hard restart at some point. But Preds are not in a really terrible spot,
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that, like, what bad moves has he made? You know what I mean? Like, what, I mean, you're talking a team that, I mean, yes, they lost in the qualifying round. They lost to an Arizona team, which was not as good as them, right? But I think there's certain, roster situations that need to be tightened up, and I mean, and that does go on the on the upper management's plate. But I've kind of liked the moves that they've made, over the years to really stay relevant in a very tough NHL Central Division.
True. I mean, I do hear what you're saying on the offensive talent side of things. There has been a lack of offense at times in Nashville, but I also feel like it's because by design, because a lot of the Pecorine being the goaltender for so long, it's almost like you didn't even need to worry about the offense because Pekka was going to steal you games. Now we're getting past that point, and now it's becoming clear, like, okay, maybe we need to change this around a little bit. It would be interesting to see if they decide to do the regime change. Would it be unfounded? No. Would it be crazy? No. It would be weird at first, but I think it would be interesting to see who they would get in return. Who would they go and grab to replace him and see what they would do? What kind of team would they become? Are they going to be more an offensive-minded team, defensive-minded team? Are they going to try and do a hybrid build? Because everything, when you get a new GM and what they want to try and make the team into, it comes with some time, and you got to wonder what's long-term. What's the plan in the near future for the Preds?
Sure. Now, let's flash forward here a little bit, and we're nearing the end of the 2021 season, knock on wood, and the Preds are, clear out of the playoff picture or wind up missing the playoffs. Yeah, that might be a time to pull the ejection handle. But from what my understanding, and I'm not totally hep on your team, but this is a team that's regularly in the playoff picture, if not, in the playoff stand, in contention. Definitely feel free to correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yes, James saying, anyone see Columbus's commentators comment on Lafreniere? Basically said he wasn't elite and can't take over games like McDavid.
Oh, bitter beans are best served cold. Is that?
Sorry, he corrected that. I said not Columbus. I meant New York.
Gotcha. So basically, go back to the other comment, Roto, the original one. So New York commentators were commenting on Lafreniere, saying he wasn't. You know what, man? I mean, and I share some allegiances here. I never listened to freaking New York commentators and freaking beat writers, and man, they say shit just to, it's like shock value. It's like they all think they're freaking the Howard Stern of sports. We have a little experience with a type of personality like that here at A2D Radio. That's no longer here at A2D Radio. He's legit. I mean, there's no two ways about it. When we did our prospect show, I did a lot of advanced scouting, listening through podcasts, and I did not hear one negative element of his game. His game was shining so strong that he was outshining other guys in in the Ottawa League there, that deserved attention, but they just weren't getting it from from Lafreniere's excellent play. He's legit. He instantly makes the New York Rangers not cup contenders, but strong playoff contenders for 2021.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I don't know about that. And he was saying the finals in 2017. Yep. Remember that run? That was a great year for Nashville. And then he said Lafreniere showed even recently he can take over games in the World's Tournament. Yeah,
I haven't seen a quality 200-foot player this young, since Sydney, pretty much. I mean,
yeah,
and I'm putting that over McDavid because, I mean, is he a quality 200? Yeah, he is. I mean, we're splitting hairs here, right? But Crosby in his youth comparison to Davidson, was a step better, right? And Lafreniere, pardon me, he could outshine them all, man. You know, he's legit. I mean, it just depends. It depends on how, you know, does he stay disciplined or does he go out in the town up there, up in the big city? You know, you've seen many a good prospect go to the New York area and wind up flopping because they can't handle it. So, yeah, you know, it's hard to bank on someone that you've never seen play an NHL game. Or even if he has a great first year, I need to see 2 years. Even if he has a good 2 years, I need to see 4 years. You know, I always want more. I'm a needy prick like that, some say.
Well, I mean, we're all are like that, especially teams who haven't won a cup in a long time. We are very needy of players who can deliver every single year. He's saying if the Blackhawks move on from Jonathan Toews, Flyers, you think make a call? No. I don't even know if the Blackhawks get rid of him, honestly. I don't think they do.
Well, he signed it. When did they sign that 8-year deal? Was that like 3 years ago? So it's like 5 years left, I want to say, just off the top of my head.
It may have been 3 years back. It
was before. It was when I was on the show the first time.
Oh, okay.
That, so it had to have been. You know, I would say I would look that up, but we're looking to wrap this up pretty soon. The reason why I shake my head no, SJM is not a bad suggestion. I mean, he could certainly contribute still as a veteran, you know, leader for a team. Flyers are done taking older players. That's an old guard. That was you know, God bless his soul. That's a Mr. Snyder, Paul Holmgren philosophy. Now it's all about developing from within, you know. Or, you know, I mean, maybe you might see a trade for other younger players. I don't think you're going to see, you know, like you saw them bring back JVR. That was, I think, as far as they'll go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that hasn't exactly paid off dividends completely. But let's see here. Lafreniere sounds like a fancy garnish at a 5-star restaurant plate with some Lafreniere with your tomahawks.
Alexis Lafreniere.
And Joe's saying I'm an hour late. When you told me 7, I took it as 7. Forgot about the time zone difference. It's okay, Joe. It happens, man. It happens, brother.
That's the beautiful part. I mean, we love you to be live so that way we can address your questions, read off your comments, be a part of the show. It's the motif of every show here at A2D Radio, right? But here's the thing. If you miss us, just like any Facebook Live video, you can, watch the replay as soon as it's done, as soon as it's cut. And that way you can kind of go back and forth, scroll around. You can do that on YouTube, on demand, all the time. Hey, you don't like to be online too much. You can download these off of anywhere you can download podcasts. We're available. You just search A2D Radio. There's my shameless plug of the show.
There'll be many more to come. But so let's take a look here real quick at the bracket. Oh, we're going to take a look here at the bracket right now in the second round here of what we've got. Obviously, Flyers and Islanders tied at 1 game apiece. Will play Saturday. Tampa and Boston, 2-1 Tampa Bay. Tampa, good God almighty, that last game, it holds two sides of the spectrum. It is absolute atrocity footage from a Boston Bruins fan's perspective. It is absolute fetish fuel for Tampa Bay fans. It is something that Tampa fans will do unspeakable things to for years to come because they absolutely shat on the Boston Bruins yesterday. The Bruins had a terrible game. It's so bad Halak got pulled and poor Kladar comes in and he just gets the poor kid. Never played in the NHL a day in his life. Welcome, kid. Enjoy getting spanked a little bit more. I was like, Jesus, poor kid. Anyway, I've never felt bad for a Bruin until then. Anyway, on to the west side of things. Vegas and Vancouver tied at 1 apiece. Oh, man. That series is exciting. I mean, the Wests are like 1980s, 90s matchups with offensive teams. Goals aplenty on both sides of the puck. But Vegas and Vancouver, no different from that. Vegas came out, had a very strong game 1, but Vancouver responded in kind and said, no, sir, we are not going down this path. And
no, sir, No one that understands my pain. Yeah. Sorry.
And great job, though, by Vancouver to tie up that series. That one's going to be crazy. And then Colorado and Dallas. What can we say about that series? Whew, Dallas, man. After they beat Calgary, man, that juiced them up so good. They waltzed on in and they said, "Hey, guys, Colorado, right? Do you mind if we slap you in the face with our giant cock?" Because that's exactly what they did for those 2 games. They absolutely crushed the Colorado Avalanche, and the Avalanche were like, "What the fuck just happened? Did we just get dick slapped in the face?" I think we did. Colorado did respond, though. They responded. And they actually got a win after Dallas tried to snag it from them. I actually thought, Frank's saying I found Gritty. He's in my profile picture. But
oh, is that? Hey, have you found Gritty? Is my question to you, Maddie.
I think I did. I think he's near the lamp. Is he? I think he is. Oh, he's up there. He's on top of the drapes. Oh, okay. He's right there where the plant is. Okay, I got you.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah. And yes, all team ball. Giroux does need to score. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's what's been going on so far. Colorado responding, pulling themselves back within 1. All I can say is that series is going to be, if Colorado can tie this series up, whew, it's going to get intense. It's going to get real intense in those final 3 games. And I will say that does go 7 if Colorado climbs back into this series.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight, like I said. I mean, the loss of Eric Johnson, we can't get any injury news. I'd love to update you on what's his prospectus of playing in Game 4. We don't know. But if he's out for the series, it's going to be tough. Does the Avalanche have enough pieces to win the series still? Yeah, of course they do. Nazem Kadri continues to be a blessing. He's like the GOAT of Colorado.
He says, "Thanks, Matt. Just had to explain to my wife and kid at the dinner table that this is a hockey podcast and they don't normally talk about slapping people with their enormous cocks."
You know what, man? I was the first one. You can blame me, Joe, as always, when it comes to, I start, getting, uncensored and it just rubs off on everybody. We forget sometimes that we're not on at 10 when we come earlier. Well, let's pledge to everyone that we're going to start keeping it clean when we come on earlier.
I'll try. I will try. I can't guarantee that I be able to do this, because once I get going, then it's like, oh shit, I didn't realize kids were listening. Clay saying my wife knows to keep the kids out when I'm watching anything hockey. Oh.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think at least, yeah, and Joe's watching on Facebook. Have the closed captions up, baby.
So it's like,
or little earbuds. Little earbuds.
He's saying it's all good, Joe. Yeah, we love you, Joe. Yeah, sorry if I taught your kids some stuff that they shouldn't be knowing right now. Sorry. I should have left that to the health class. But anyway, and then all team ball, can the Flyers go all the way? Yeah, they can. They got to get their shit together, but they can do it. Headphones are our friends. And then Joe's saying, so who do you think the 48 hours off helps more, the Islanders or the Flyers? I think it helps the Flyers, because you get that big win, you get a rest, and you can take it in. And don't get me wrong, the Islanders, they're going to be feeling a charge a little bit from that loss because they were this close, but they don't get immediately right back at it. So I think it does help the Flyers a little bit more. But with that saying, though, whew, that was fun. Unfortunately, all good things got to come to a close, and that will do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. But if you do enjoy the show and you enjoy our foul language, you can absolutely help out the show. And the way you can is not just helping us out, but helping out the station. PhillyDrinkers.com, ladies and gentlemen. We have plenty of t-shirts, and it's not just t-shirts. They also have mugs. We've got shorts. We've got all kinds of things for you to purchase on there. A2D logos on things. Also, we have Hockey Happy Hour stuff as well. And for all the shows in this very ring, Lazy Booking, and we have The Fix, AM and the PM. We have Weekly Roundup, Sports Hounds, Birds of a Feather, all of our shows. Kicking It Stateside. Yes, PhillyDrinkers.com/A2D Radio. That is where you can find everything from our merchandise. Absolutely check it out. Help support us. We love you guys. You are our lifeblood, and that is how we do it. And he says, thanks for a great show, fellas. Gave me hockey fix tonight. Hey, no problem, Chrome. We were hoping to do that for everybody out there.
Feel better, brother.
Yes. Get better, brother. We will see you next week, hopefully on a Lazy Booking with me and possibly Andy. Who knows? Ritz likes to jump on with us, so hopefully he'll be on there as well next time we're around. Just saying, I was kind of looking. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say, Pope?
I was waiting for you to stop, but yet syllable still came out of my mouth. Hey, at the moment's passed. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, Clay says same here. Thanks, fellas. Thanks, Clay. Thanks to everybody who chimed in today. All Team Ball. Joe, who was saying I was kind of looking forward to seeing Elliott today. I'm sure AV will play Hart on Saturday. I know he has 2 shutouts and a couple of great saves, but I don't think Hart is playing as great as he is getting credit for. I think he's had his human moments, but he's young. He's learning. He's a kid, and that's the key part. He's a kid, and he's learning all this.
We touched upon this a little earlier in the show, Joe. I mean, I'm not saying that to single you out. I'm saying go back and listen to that in terms of our take. I really was expecting to see Brian Elliott actually in this back-to-back situation based on my strong feelings of it not being a wise idea against the Canadians. We saw how that worked out. So I guess you don't have to rewind back because I just pretty much summed it up. I'm a problem, man. I gotta take this show on the road, man. I gotta take this on the road now.
Coming to a comedy club near you. Rob Povia. And let's see. SJM, thank you for chiming in, brother. And for everybody else who I was able to get to. Yep. We're gritty for Prism. Sorry, we were on a little early for you, brother, but hopefully we'll get some comments from you later on tonight when you get off work. And Zach as well. Zach Bellis, thank you. Thanks to everybody who chimed in today. And even Matthew Spills, who just chimed in with those laughing emojis. Thank you for that as well. So thank you guys so much. We love you guys. You keep us going. You're our lifeblood. Philly Drinkers is where you can find our stuff if you want to support us. And our final sponsor is Ambuck Services. If you want to get your lawn taken care of, get your bushes trimmed, get your gutters cleaned, get your deck restored, they are the guys who do that. All you got to do is pull out the lawnmower and take care of that. That's all you have to do after they're done. And then everybody's envious of what you got. Your lawn and your backyard and your deck, it's beautiful. It's perfect. Make them envious. Ambuck Services. And the way that you can contact those bad boys is, once I pull up the read, I'm a highly trained professional. No, I am not. Do not believe me. I am full of shit. But anyway, let me see here. Ambuck Service, you can reach them at 856-879-5530. Thank you guys for joining us. From everybody here, I'm Matt Sassuti. That's the broken one, Rob Povia. Thank you, Broda, for chiming in. And Pete, what's up, brother? Sorry, we got to peace out now. And we will see you guys next week. We should be back to 10 o'clock then, but we'll keep you guys posted if the Flyers have a game on that day, and we're going to do some live reactions. Who knows? This is what happens with playoff hockey, right? But we'll see you guys next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Peace and love. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Let's all take care of each other. Equality. Peace, everyone.